Greetings, duelists, and welcome back to the Underground. So, I think this is episode 16 or 17. I'll remember it once I make the video. So, we're talking about Maliss again, and it's been a while since we talked about Maliss. It has been almost a month. The last thing we covered was how Maliss almost dominated the North American WCQ. That was not really the case with the European WCQ. But now we're gonna talk about Justice Hunters and what happened to Maliss post Justice Hunters. So this is YCS Vancouver. This is our first major event post with Justice Hunters being legal in the TCG. And if you look at the results, Maliss is not doing so hot. Like, it's not just Maliss. Like, Mitsurugi Raizio also fell off. Now, I did make a video last week talking about Justice Hunters and bringing up whether or not that set changed or like saved the format. So I won't go into really much detail involving the newer decks, but I do want to talk about Maliss and their position with the current format. So these are the two Maliss lists that topped, and you will notice immediately these two lists looks very, very similar. There's probably like 3 to 4 card difference. So as far as Maliss as a deck building constraint goes, I think the deck is pretty much solved. However, just because the deck is solved when it comes to like how it should be consistency wise, doesn't mean that the deck is fully solved against everything that's happening in the format. If we scroll down a little bit, you'll probably notice both lists have almost the same extra deck as well. I think the main difference is one of them is playing Topologic Bomber Dragon, while the other one opted for Firewall instead. Well, no, Firewall is still in here. So it's probably like one of the Link 1s or like one of the Link 2s. They both play Dark, which I also found really interesting. Access Code's a staple. You know that you have the 3 Maliss names. I think they're both on Lizardos. Actually, no, this one is not on Lizardos. So that's the big difference. So basically, the difference is Bomber instead of Lizardos, which we already explained last time on the last video. Lizardos is like really important if you're playing a lot of Bestials, but they are not playing that many Bestials. They're only playing 2 of them. I think both lists only play 2 Bestials. And I don't think that's an incorrect approach. Bestials are good against Yummy, but they're not that good against the other decks. Like, if you're facing Crystron Canine, Vanquish Soul, like Draco Tail, you're probably not gonna do as well with just 2 Bestials. I mean, with Bestials against those decks. Like, and that was the majority of top cut. The other thing I noticed is, like, Lancia is still in the side deck, and we'll talk about Lancia in a little bit. But yeah, so far, Maliss has like very solid lists. They both play Thrust. They both play Black Goat, which I really do think Black Goat is really important this new format. Raigeki was really interesting to see. This one opted for I Meet You. I think they were both on Droll. Yeah, Droll is pretty much here to just still respect Raizio. Although you could make the argument that this is decent against Crystron Canine and Vanquish Soul. Now, since we talked about the list, and I don't think these lists are badly made. I think these lists are very, very solid. What happened? Is Maliss just not good enough against all these decks? Is there solid evidence of this? Well, let's go to the OCG metagame reports. And this is one from July. This is one from 3 weeks later. This is one from like I think it was 2 weeks ago. And if you look at every single pie chart, you notice that Maliss is a little far behind. In this metagame report specifically, which, mind you, it was at the 1st of April, so very long ago. Although this was posted at 1st of July, so yeah, this was like way back then. Maliss was already behind to begin with. Now, if we go and scroll down here a little bit lower, and shout out to ROTK, I will post this article. In this article, they bring up like what is happening to Maliss, and the TLDR is Maliss is not good against Yummy or against Vanquish Soul if you're going second. Like, these two decks are just way too strong against Maliss. Like, even with their plethora of extenders. Maliss is just a very fragile deck when you're going second in general. Like, you really rely on like your summons to fall through. You do have Marsh Hare to help you, but like that's not enough. Like, if you're normal summoning a Dormouse and you're facing the Yummy deck, and like they go Cookie Yummy to just set your Dormouse, like all of a sudden your Marsh Hare doesn't work. You have no way to get rid of your Dormouse. Like, the Bestials don't work either. You cannot link away, so you can't like extend with your Attic Nesters. And there's no real way to play around that unless you open the trap cards. And like, not everybody's playing all the 3 trap cards. Dominance Impulse is really, really important in this matchup because of that reason. So you could make the argument around that, but again, Nibiru is mainly in the main deck, in this deck, just to deal with Yummy, because again, like, the Yummy end boards are just really good into Maliss. The second problem is like Vanquish Soul also has amount of interruptions that just don't destroy. Like, Holisu just taking your normal summon is already really powerful enough, because again, it does the same thing. It like cuts you off from Bestials, it cuts you off from Marsh Hare, it cuts you off from like other extenders. And yeah, that's not really good for Maliss. Can Maliss adapt to what is happening in the metagame? I do think they can. Like, I think this is a sample deck list. Let me see if I can find it. So this is a Maliss deck list from the OCG back when this was happening. And like, obviously Maxi does play a factor in here, but some Maliss lists are playing Book of Eclipse. I don't know if this one is doing it. Any of these ones are doing it. But I know there are lists in the OCG that are playing Book of Eclipse, and Book of Eclipse is really, really good. I even see Maliss lists that are making decking Book of Eclipse. Like, pretty much like your non-engine will probably need a little bit of a tune-up if you want to like deal with like the other decks. The other thing that this article will mention is that Draco Tail is your worst matchup post-side deck, because Draco Tail is not only going to Lancia you, they're going to Arthalion bounce the Lancia. And Arthalion is just a really good card against like the Attic Nester extenders. And that's not even talking about the fact that, you know, Winda is also really strong against the deck. This deck can turn 0 Winda, and turn 0 Winda is just really strong against Maliss to begin with. Another thing that is not good for Maliss is, if we go back to Vanquish Soul, March Hare triggers Izuna. And Izuna, like, getting into Nash Knight just to take another monster, that's already strong enough interruptions against Maliss as well. Pair that with Holisu stealing, like, that's just way too many interruptions. You also have Rosin that can also interrupt you. And this deck can do that even on your turn 1. And that's, like, unless you do something weird, like, I don't know, play 3 copies of Malice in the Mirror, like, you're not beating Vanquish Soul efficiently. Like, maybe in the future, Forbidden Chalice could be played instead of Infinite Impermanence. But Infinite Impermanence is just as good because, like, this pairs up well with Dominus Impulse. Who knows? Maybe that's an approach that you'll take in the future. Maybe Forbidden Droplets is another card that you could play in Malice now, just to deal with what a lot of people are doing. I know that the Raizio Mitsu list that made that like got first in Swiss said that Droplets was really good for them. So maybe the non-engine in Malice will need a real change if we want to keep up with, like, everything else. So the other thing that is not doing, like, is pushing Malice away, and I already brought it up with Draco Tail. People are still keeping Lancia, so post side you'll still have Lancia to deal with. I think while Malice is still in the format, people will still play Lancia. The moment Lancia phases out, maybe Malice will make a turn back, but it's still, there's still a lot that needs to be done in order for Malice to just keep up. Now, what other game plans do we have for Malice besides the non-engine that I brought up earlier? Well, shoutouts to Toast. Like, there and YouTuber that started posting recently. They do a lot. They do a lot of Dueling Book play style videos. Well, they do a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh competitive like approaches, like in the digital format. And this was for a $2,000 tournament. Like, you see this Malice deck is playing K9 cards, and the approach behind playing the K9s in Malice is that now you have a game plan against Lancia, but not only that, you also have another interruption for your opponent if you face against specific matchups that just fall into Izuna. Do take mind that Izuna does conflict with Dominus Impulse, so you have to be very, very careful when activating both of them. You need to do Izuna first, because right after you do Impulse from your hand, like, Izuna and Lupus are shut down for the entirety of the match, or entirety of the duel, rather. Same with Ripper. But I think this is a good approach to the deck. Is this the only approach? I think there are others. You see in the side deck, there is Pancratops, there's Porulia, there's still Lancia for the mirror match. Solemn Warning is a new card that a lot of people are looking into right now. That is really good into the Justice Hunter decks. Also, Rivalry and Gozen is really, really good in Malice also. Like, it's one of those cards that actually will give you an edge against Vanquish Soul. Not against Yummy, but against pretty much everything else. I think this list is tailor-made to beat most of the new decks. It's not good into Yummy still, because Yummy does not play into Izuna that much. We're still on 2 Bestials. They opted for maxing out Chessie instead of March Hare, which I do think is correct. But yeah, the last question that we need to ask ourselves: does Malice need to be hit in the ban list? we haven't had a Forbidden Limited list in around 4 months now already. 4 to 5 months. We're about to reach the 5th month. Well, let's see. Yeah, because last ban list was in April, so yeah, we're about to reach our 5th month without a ban list. Do think we're getting one after the World Championships. And if we look at the changes that happened in the OCG, like if we go to like OCG lists of Maliss, like it's a little bit different from ours. Like they still have 3 underground, they have 3 white rabbits, they only have 1 dormouse. Could we see a list similar to this one? Could we end up getting underground and rabbit back at 3? Will dormouse stay at 2? Will they do other hits? Because take note, they have link decoder. We do not have link decoder. This is an old list. This was before their last Forbidden Limited list, so Appaloosa is still in this picture, but Appaloosa is no longer in the OCG. Yeah, I do believe that if we do actually get a ban list, I don't think Maliss will get gutted. I think they'll probably do like a little slap in the wrist, like maybe limit dormouse. If you limit dormouse and you leave rabbit and underground at 2, this deck in the TCG will be worse than it is in the OCG. And if that happens, you might actually see Maliss disappear, because even in the OCG, with the deck being a stronger numbers than here, it's still not really that high, like in the meta game. This is from Puzzle Doom of Dimensions. As you can see, Maliss is still a little far behind. I will say this, Maliss did keep up with Draco Tail. So, I don't think Maliss is in the worst spot ever. I just think that Maliss just needs a little tune-up. But yeah, that's it for Maliss. I'd say keep an eye out. This deck is not dead by any means. Until next time, keep practicing and keep dueling.